So this will be a presentation on accelerating research and innovation through HPC, and the first part, if I understand is correctly, the first part will be presented by Kiran Narkhede.
Hi, this is Kiran. Is
okay,
my voice audible?
Yes, please go ahead.
Thanks.
Please go ahead.
Good afternoon. I am Kiran Narkhede, HPC Technical Architect at High Performance Computing Center of Excellence at Tata Consultancy Services. I will be discussing how we are enabling the research and innovations through the optimized high performance computing systems at our customers as well as to our research organization. We will discuss the SKA India regional data center related requirements as well as the other aspects in this presentation. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Yogesh and SKA India and ASI for giving us the opportunity to present our thoughts here. Today's agenda is basically the RDC features and requirements, what will be the basic or the initial RDC architecture for HPC system, followed by the experience of TCS in high performance computing. There are 6 broad requirement categories. This is a first level map and we will refine this map going ahead. The first is that the RDC has to host the science data archive. It includes observatory data products as well as the advanced data products. The data will be received from observatory at a velocity of 10 to 100 Gbps. This data volume, the data volume will be 100 to 300 petabytes in every year. The storage capacity will grow from 100 petabytes to 1000 petabytes in next 5 to 10 years from the start of the data collection. This data needs to be available 24/7 to all the global users as per the plan of the experiments that they need to conduct. The availability and security of this data is essential. Hence, the appropriate backup and disaster recovery mechanisms needs to be deployed. The second is to provide access and distribute the data products to all the users, authenticated users. The data will be output to other SRCs at the rate of 100 Gbps plus. Again, the data volume for this transfer will be 100 to 300 petabytes in a year. The storage bandwidth will also be consumed by the applications which are required for data processing in this RDC. The storage bandwidth could be 200 gigabytes per second plus based on the large data volumes that we have. Also, the compute capacity can range from 3 to 22 petaflops as a initial estimate. The storage bandwidth and compute capacity will be a function of applications and workflows that will be developed and will be used in next few years. If any user asks certain data, then it should be made available to that user in a reasonable time. So that is the demand to delivery time for the data as well as the compute resources. The third is the providing the access to compute and storage resources in the RDC. The access has to be access to data and compute will be uniform and consistent. So this will be through common science portal. The hardware may differ from each SRC, but the simulation software environment has to be uniform across the SRCs so that the research results have predictability and precision. Appropriate authentication mechanism will also be required. The environment also needs to be customizable for individual research projects. The compute and storage allocation as per policy and credits should be possible. The appropriate accounting system needs to be provisioned. The compute and storage and data to be allocated as per the demand and cleaned up for the next research compute job. Like the scratch space has to be cleaned up before the next job comes for the computation. The next requirement is to provide the analysis capabilities to the users. So there will be majorly two types of workloads. First will be simulation workload, and another will be AI MLDL workloads. As the large data is distributed across all the SRCs, there can be a need to simultaneously analyze the data at different physical locations. There arises the ability to send or distribute the workload and collect the results at the user location. The data transfer needs to be minimized while keeping the simulation cycle time minimum. Automation will be required for workflows having predefined steps, but very large compute requirements such as the key science projects. The software and application tools that will be developed should be reusable considering the large number of researchers that will be using this system. Also, the project duration is very long, that is about 50 years. So because of that, the proper management and software management has to be implemented. Various decision and AI models will be developed during the course of use, and hence model management system as well as the continuous integration, continuous delivery, CI/CD type of software development systems will be required. The next requirement is to provide user support. As Dr. Yogesh mentioned, this is an important thing. So this is a high performance data analytics system having high velocity and high volume. It will be functional at near peak load continuously and should perform at its maximum efficiency. Hence, availability and performance of this system needs to be monitored continuously. The failure of any single component, for example, WAN, internet link, storage, compute, or LAN, can pause or slow down the whole processing of the data. The system will be used by researchers across the globe. Hence self-support portals and tracking of issues or tickets through the help desk will be required. Application support will include application installation, integration of the workflows, integration with the HPC schedulers, and identification of reasons of failures of the application, which may be infrastructure. The performance of these automated workflows also needs to be monitored. The help desk will function 8x5 IST as well as in 24/7 lean mode. The last point is about the data center facility. We will have a separate presentation after this presentation. However, these are the touch points. So the data center will be operational 24/7 with sufficient provision of power, diesel generator, cooling water, etc. This private cloud will be hosted in new data center, which will be a tier 3 data center. So these are the basic requirements and the aspects that needs to be considered while designing the RDC. This is the basic architecture that we can draw based on the requirements. So the first is I'll just show what are the components here. The input data is ingested from the observatory to the online storage, as well as other data centers are having another part of the data. If that is required for the processing, that will be also fetched. Even this data can be given to the other SRCs through the high-speed links. There will be 3 types of storages. One is the online storage, the scratch storage, which will be high-speed storage for compute processing, and the archival storage. The cluster will have CPUs, it will have GPUs, and it will also have FPGAs based on the workloads. So some workloads can run on CPUs, some can run on CPU, GPU, or some can run on CPU, FPGA also. The users will connect through the portal, which can be a part of the science portal, and then they will submit the jobs to the cluster, and then accordingly the data will be fetched from other SRCs or these same SRCs or from the archival storage, and then it will be run using the scratch storage. There are different high-speed networks that are possible, like the red network here is 100 gigabits per second. There can be multiple such links possible. The links from the SRC to the observatory and the other SRCs will be 100 Gbps, and the user portals users will be connected to 10 to 100 Gbps. Having said discussed about the SRC architecture, we will have the discussion at the end of the presentation regarding the architecture questions. Now we will just glance upon what are the HPC services that we provide to our customers. So we started with designing and developing the supercomputer in 2007, which was ranked #1 in Asia and #4 in the world. After that, we concentrated on the 4 types of services. First is the consulting service, management of the systems, performance engineering of these parallel applications, and HPC AI convergence. So the consultancy includes assessment of the existing landscape and creation of HPC roadmap, cloud consultancy, and investment recommendations, as well as the technology selection and technology roadmap. The management services includes full stack management of infrastructure, applications, cloud management, and providing the best practices for the high performance computing. So we are currently managing 100,000 CPU cores and 10 plus petabytes for our customers. The third part is the performance engineering, which includes the re-architecting the applications to specific platforms like CPU, GPU, or FPGA, or EPIC, whatever be the new upcoming platform, and then improving the application performance in terms of runtime, latency, or scalability. In HPC AI convergence, we provide the integrated benefits of high performance computing and artificial intelligence to assist our users to solve the industry specific issues. We have created a converged HPC AI platform for this. So these are some of the HPC technologies that we have experienced and we are working, like high performance parallel file systems, high performance HPC interconnects, high performance schedulers, and the HPC applications. We have also worked on various optimization and parallelization projects. Like if you see the first column, we have worked on various GPU optimizations, where we have optimized the life sciences codes and finance codes. For CPU, on Xeon, we have optimized the ROMs and Umber and OpenFOAM CFD application. From a latency perspective, we have reduced the latency of the TCS Banks application, which is a platform for banks. And for the storage perspective, we have carried out a pilot project along with the IBM GPFS for ADAS system. So that ends my presentation. Thank you for giving us the opportunity, and we are open to the question after the second part of the presentation, that is the data center.
Thank you, Kiran. So